At para mas mahimay pa natin ang nakakapanabik na Final Four matchup sa pagitan ng Ateneo Blue Eagles at ng defending champions na FEU Tamaraw, makakasama natin ang ating resident basketball analyst, ang dating UST King Tiger. At siyempre, one of my favorite guests here on The Score, Christian Luanzon. Chris, welcome back.
Magandang gabi.
Mukhang seryoso tayo, Chris, ngayon, ha?
Siyempre, pa-Final Four na. Seryoso rin mga ibang team, eh.
Tama. Well, yung isang pwesto nakuha na ng De La Salle University matapos nila talunin ng Adamson. So,
as expected, yeah.
Ateneo naman at FEU ang maghaharap. The defending champions. Their throne is on the line as they face Ateneo with a twice-to-beat advantage. Now, would you consider Ateneo entering the Final Four na meron twice-to-beat advantage as a team that overachieved dito sa Season 79?
I think Ateneo really surpasses everyone's expectations. And the good thing about that is that they themselves, hindi sila naniniwala dito. What I mean to say is that, you know, before the start of the season, I don't think anyone saw this as happening, as they ended up as a number 2 spot, especially with a twice-to-beat advantage. You know, especially when how the season was dictated literally from the last game, in terms of positioning from Adamson, FEU, and Ateneo. But I think within themselves, you know, they saw this happening, and I think that's very important. Yung belief, no. You know, let's not forget this is one of the youngest teams we have this season. You know, and I think aside from this season, what the Ateneo community should be really excited about is the future that they have. You know, 30 has showed what he can do on both ends. Their core players, Aaron Black, Isaac Go has emerged. Adrian Wong from last season, you know, has definitely picked it up also. Nieto brothers, and what you like about this group is that, you know, it's not been one or two guys. They've been doing it on a team effort, on a collective effort.
Chris, kung titignan natin ang naging takbo ng season para sa Ateneo, 4-3 sila sa first round. In the second round, 6-1. They're entering this game against FEU riding on a 6-game winning streak. Para sa'yo, ano ang nagbago sa mga Atenista? How did they turn the corner and go up with that winning streak?
Well, their bench, obviously, and with Aaron Black with this injury in the first round, really affected them. And, you know, with Coach Tab, with most of the time, Aaron comes off the bench, and the numbers don't lie. I mean, against La Salle, they dominated in terms of bench points compared to La Salle. I think it was like 52-23, something like that. And with versus the Tamaraws also in that second round, it was the same story. And not only Aaron, Isaac Go has emerged. Again, the Nieto brothers, both Big Mike and Matt Nieto, with their energy off the bench. You know, at one point, Big Mike was leading the team in rebounding, and that's just sensational for the kid. He's only what, 6'2", 6'1". He's undersized. We've been talking about him being undersized, but, you know, he plays with a lot of heart. He plays smart, and itong team na to, really, they're in a good momentum right now, and they're looking to continue it on.
Ateneo number 1 in the league pagdating sa bench scoring. Binanggit mo nga si Big Mike, who used to be really big in the juniors. Now he still wants to be called Big Mike kasi he has a big heart daw. That's how he plays the game of basketball.
And he's showing it. Yeah.
Now let's talk about FEU. Kung ang Ateneo number 1 pagdating sa bench points, ang FEU naman number 1 pagdating sa points allowed. This is a team that lost Mac Bello, Mike Tolomia, Achi Inigo from last year's championship team, but they're grinding it out, a defensive team. Now, they started the season 1-2, and then they won their next 7 games, but they're currently on a slump. Natalo sila sa kanilang in 3 out of their last 4 games. So what do you think is happening with the Tamaraws right now? Why are they spiraling downward as they enter the Final Four?
Well, if you look at their I want to start with their 7-game winning streak. A part of that stretch where, you know, they were able to bail out some of the games. In like the games, the first game in the second round against NU, I think they only won by a point. Even a game they struggled against UST, even against UP, they only won by a point. But I think this is going to be a great series, first of all, because to me, these are the two most fundamentally sound teams, especially on the defensive end, especially in terms of staying in front. I think that's their advantage, FEU and Ateneo compared to LaSalle. I think LaSalle is a good defensive team, but obviously they can get away with things because of Ben Mbala at the end of the line. But in terms of being fundamentally staying in front of your team and executing on offense also, these two teams, this is going to be a great series. For FEU, I think scoring has been yung parang difficulty nila. And obviously with the guys that you mentioned, Macbelo, Tolomia, Pogoy, Cruz, these were their top 4 scorers. So I think Arong, it's been sort of a roller coaster for him in terms of scoring. We saw a glimpse of parang adjustment ni Coach Nash, especially against LaSalle, their second to the last game, where Arong came off the bench. I wouldn't be surprised if he does this just to, boost that bench, to have that firepower off the bench. So I think scoring has been the problem for them.
Actually, I was looking at the stats kanina at nagulat ako na wala silang player na talagang high scoring. In Ateneo, they don't have a player averaging in double digits. Their number 1 scorer is Thirdy Ravena, who's averaging 9.1 points per game off the bench in 13 out of the 14 games. Sa FU naman, number 1 scorer nila si Raymar Jose, who's not really known as a scorer. So going back to what you said, na they really have to rely on their defense kasi nga medyo kinukulang sila pagdating sa opensa.
And that's going to be the key. If they can get stops, as you mentioned, and then easy opportunities. But let's give credit to FEU also. I think with the same thing that we said, and a lot of people said before the season, a lot of people counted this team out also, especially with the departure of stars. The same thing with Ateneo. I think they're on the same boat in terms of yung nabanggit mo kanina, parang overachieving, di ba? And I think the difference na lang would be, or their edge against Ateneo would be their experience, being half of the team, being part of the championship team last year. If they come out to win this series, I think that would be a vital part, yung experience nila.
Alright, Christian, let's talk about the elimination round matchups. Nung una silang nagharap, FEU at Ateneo, nanalo ang Ateneo by 5 points. Second round meeting, nanalo naman ang Ateneo by 15 points. Is this going to matter in the Final Four?
I don't think so. I think every day is a new day, as the saying goes. And I think the old pagpasok ng game na to, especially with the days that they had to prepare, Coach Nash, with his great coaching and how he is as a motivational speaker, especially under those years under Coach Chot, I'm sure the mindset niya na properly yung mga kids. I don't think that's gonna matter. I think it's back to square one pagdating ng Final Four. I think the same thing goes with Ateneo, even though at the back end they have the twice to beat advantage. I'm sure pinipreach ni Coach Tab that, hey, this is the do or die game for us. Let's win it tomorrow.
Who do you like in this series, FEU or Ateneo?
I'm just hoping for a great game, to be honest. Just like I think the only sure bet for all of us, even before the start of the season, was LaSalle, which is no surprise. But like I said, the 2, 3, and 4, Adamson could have made that 2 spot. And again, it was only determined until the last game. But I'm just looking as a fan of basketball, especially looking from the outside. I'm looking for a great series, which I expect to, especially in terms of yung quality on both ends, offensively and defensively.
Well, it should be a good series, Christian. As you mentioned, 2 teams playing as a team and grinding it out. Thank you so much for coming here to The Score, and we'll see you at the games. See you. Salamat.
Hi guys, keep watching The Score for the latest sports updates, and don't forget to subscribe to the ABS-CBN Sports in Action YouTube channel.